Pick a card, any card. Today I'm going to be doing an up-close magician build. I'm really excited for this one. It combines a couple of humorous plays on word and some really cool fun mechanics to goof around with. As an up-close magician, we're going to be an up-close Gish. It's a fun, extremely flexible playstyle that has a lot of flavor to it. I think you guys are going to like it, so let's do this. This video is brought to you by the Crystals of Zleth, a solo campaign that I have played the first session of that you can check out. A lot of fun. You're going into a mysterious, corrupted forest and you're trying to figure out what the hell is going on while trying to save an expedition. It's really fun, really flavorful. Y'all should check it out. Alright, so let's talk about this build. We're going to be taking the Cartomancer feat. Now, I recently discovered that this feat is contentious, so no one can agree on how this feat works. Anywhere you go that talks about it, there's arguments on, no, it works this way, no, it works this way. So to clear the air, I'm going to tell you how it's going to work for the sake of this video. Now, we get to do a bonus action cast of a spell, but does it cost a spell slot? In this case, yes, it does. It uses the word cast, so I'm going to go ahead and lean in that direction. The second question is, can we access whole spell lists even if we only have one level in that class? Again, the answer is yes. That's how it reads, and that is one of the advantages of this feat. Now, many of you are going to disagree with what I just said. That's fine, but if I said anything else, people would also disagree with that, so let's just roll with this as a community. Next, our lineage. I'm going to be going Harengon. Specifically, I want to be going a medium-sized Harengon who slicks his ears back and has a top hat on. A very suave Harengon, and specifically a white Harengon, a very fluffy white bunny Harengon. Why? Well, mostly because I think it's funny that we're a rabbit magician pulling humans out of hats. Just saying. But there's a lot of mechanical benefits. Advantage on initiative is fantastic for a full caster. Additionally, we're going to have a bonus to our dexterity saves, which is always great. Who likes failing dexterity saves? No one. That's who. And finally, proficiency bonus times per day. We can basically take a bonus action disengage. This is going to be a very mobile build. This disengage is really going to get us popping on that right away. Now, you don't have to go Harengon. You could go a variant human with the mobile feat and you're going to be just fine as well, but Harengon's more fun, so we're going that way. For our stats, we're going primary into charisma, secondary into dexterity, and our tertiary in constitution. A note here is we're not doing any half feats with this build, so try and get your stats to be on those even numbers. Alright, level 1 and 2, we're a bard. We're not going to be doing anything special at these levels. Stay alive. That's your main goal here. Use Vicious Mockery from range, take cover, don't die. If you don't die, great job, you made it to level 3. Level 3, we get to choose our subclass. What I realized about this chassis we're using, specifically the Cartomancer, mostly Bard, one Sorcerer build, is that it is extremely flexible with its subclasses. And based on what subclasses you choose, you can make wildly different characters and playstyles. It's actually really flexible and opens you up to a million different things. So let's say that you want to mix Draconic Soul Sorcerer with a Whisperer's Bard. You can have this shadowy, kind of evil Dragonborn type vibe, sneaky, maybe a bit psychic. That's one flavor you can go for of many. Now, because we're the up-close magician, we're going to be doing up-close combat, so I want to make sure I get some AC. So that reduces the amount of subclasses I can go for to 3. Now we have Draconic Soul Sorcerer, we have the Swords Bard, and we have Valor Bard. Now I chose Swords Bard for a couple different reasons. 1, Shield didn't work for the aesthetic I had for this character. 2 is that we have a stacked bonus action and I don't want to be spending it on Bardic Inspiration. Already we have our bunny hop to get away from people as a bonus action, so I want to keep that open for our disengages, and now we can use our Bardic Inspirations attached to our attacks. That's pretty neat. It also just matches that suave flavor. We're going for a very suave bunny here. We're also going to be picking up expertise at this level. Now, expertise for me is clear as day. We're going sleight of hand and we're going performance. Now, this is because we're an up-close magician. Now, many people, when they think about sleight of hand, they think about just pickpocketing. Now, Treant Monk recently did a video on skills where he did a great example of Penn and Teller and everything they do with sleight of hand and how we can break it down. So number 1 is palm. We basically can hold something without people knowing we're holding it. I can see that being very useful. Then we have ditch, where we secretly discard something that we don't want people to know that we discarded. Then we have steal. where we take something that we want that people don't know we took. This is the one most people know. Then we have load, which is secretly move one item from one place to another without anybody noticing. Then we have simulation. Simulation is basically pretending you're doing something when you're really doing something else. It makes it look like you passed a ball off from one hand to the other when the ball's still in this hand. Then we have misdirection, where you draw people's attention away from the moves you're doing. Hey, look, a bird, meanwhile your hand is over here doing some business. Then we have switch, which is we exchange one item for another. Maybe think Indiana Jones. Yeah! With these all combined, we can do a bunch of different things. And it's one of the big draws to this character is not only are we an up-close Gish magician in combat, we're also actually an up-close magician entertainer. And I think that's going to be a lot of fun to play around with. We're also getting second level spells, and one spell I want to mention is the Spray of Cards. It's going to be a signature spell of ours. Not the most powerful spell ever, but the flavor is just too good to pass up. Now, with all spells I'm casting, I'm going to be flavoring it through card magic. So if I'm casting Hold Person, I'm slapping a card on someone and its magic infects them and they're held still. Any spell I cast, I'm going to want to mix with that card flavor. But with Spray of Cards, it's kind of special because it's built in. So Spray of Cards is going to do a bit of a cone, going to do a bit of damage, and potentially blind people. Now it's a dexterity save, so it's actually really good against brutes, and brutes are in melee combat all the time. So we Spray of Cards them, they often will go blind. This sets our team up for a success, but also lets us disengage for free. Now as a Swords Bard, anytime we take the attack action, we're also going to get 10 feet of extra movement speed, which is extremely nice. Wouldn't happen in this case, but it does help with our in and out bunny hop shenanigans. So you kind of get a feel for what we're doing. We're running in, we're casting spells, we're getting attacks off, and then we're bouncing out. So it's going to be a very fun high mobility Gish. At level 4, we're picking up the Cartomancer feat. Now the Cartomancer feat, first thing it's going to do is allow us to cast Prestidigitation as part of us doing card magic. So it doesn't look like we're casting spells at all. It looks like we're fiddling with a deck and we can cast Prestidigitation. Now I think this is really fun to mix with all of those other things we're doing with sleight of hand and up close card magic, because now we can create small, simple objects, we can create symbols, we can change how a card looks, we can change the color of something, we can change the smell of something, we can clean something, all while performing card tricks. I really like the flexibility here. It's one of the biggest draws to this character. Sure, we can do some cool things with Cartomancer in combat, but I'm more excited about this Prestidigitation outside of combat. It seems small, but I think the amount of flexibility that these two combined, having expertise in sleight of hand and being able to cast Prestidigitation as part of doing sleight of hand, combined for an insane amount of flexibility. You can put something in someone's drink without them noticing right in front of them. You can steal something off someone without them noticing. Here, look at my hand. Whoop! Pull it out of their pocket. You can plant incriminating evidence. You can dispose of incriminating evidence. Hell, I remember when the Black Caravan was searching Fibonacci and I was basically pooping my pants in fear. I would have loved to have this ability to sneak that item that they were looking for onto one of the guards so we no longer had it, so they could search us all they wanted. Anyways, the point I'm making is that it might seem small, but I think this is one of the biggest things in this build. But that's not all Cartomancer does. Cartomancer also lets us load a spell into a card at the beginning of the day. That spell can only be an action cast spell, and then throughout the day we can cast it as a bonus action. I would play this like the ace up my sleeve. I would write down what spell I chose and hide it. I wouldn't tell the table. That way it would have a fun moment every single time. It's like, ooh, this is the ace up my sleeve. I have this trick no one knew I could do. And as we level up, that bag of tricks is just going to get bigger and bigger. Let's talk about a few. So Hold Person. Now we bonus action Hold Person. We can go in there, go for our attack action. If we hit, it automatically crits. Then we can drop a Swords Bard Bardic Inspiration to do extra bonus damage, kind of like a smite. So we can smack someone hard. On the same turn, we Hold Person them. This never changes. You can always do this even if we're at level 9. Hold Person can still be semi-decent. Spray of Cards. Similar, we can bonus action Spray of Cards and then attack someone who's now blinded. This is particularly good if we're not fighting humanoids. It can also be good for a pseudo bonus action disengage if we've ran out of our bunny hops. But the main thing I'm trying to get across is keep it fun and flexible. Keep it new. Don't just choose the optimal spell. Don't just choose Hypnotic Pattern because it's the best. Take Hypnotic Pattern so you have the optimal spell for combats you need, and let Cartomancer be a very flexible, moving surprise every single time. And that's what's fun about it, is you get to surprise the table every single time by casting a spell they didn't expect you to cast. Could be fun. Now, mechanically speaking, at this level, what it essentially does for us is changes an action cast to a bonus action cast, which is decent and allows us to take spells that we didn't select as a bard, which is fun. So so it's doing okay at this point, but Cartomancer scales incredibly well, and we'll see that as we continue. Level 5, our Bardic Inspiration gets a bump, and we restored on a short rest, so our Swords Bards, Bardic Inspiration attacks are just going to get better and better from here. It's a big level for them. We also get 3rd level spells, which importantly expands everything we can do with Cartomancer, and of course we're also going to be getting 3rd level spells, which are insane. Level 6, I'm going to go 1 level in Sorcerer. I'm going to be taking Storm Sorcerer. Again, any of these sorcerers will work. Go with the one that you really like its flavor, but by going level 1 in Storm Sorcerer, now anytime we cast a spell, we get a bonus action disengage for 10 feet of flying movement. It really increases our mobility and keeps us in that hit and run style. I'm also going to grab Booming Blade and Firebolt. Booming Blade, I like the idea of smacking someone and then attaching a card to them at the same time using our sleight of hand. Then it's a surprise move, boom. Firebolt, we pick up a card and we throw it like Gambit, lights on fire, does some damage, just cool stuff like that. Importantly, we're picking up Booming Blade on the exact level that it scales, so it's going to be a fairly significant boost in damage. Now, after this, we're going to be going back into Bard at level 6, which gives us Bard extra attack. Do we use Booming Blade or do we use extra attack? The question is, do you think they're going to move? If the answer is yes, you use Booming Blade. If the answer is no, you use extra attack. But as we continue down these levels, Booming Blade is going to continue scaling where extra attack doesn't, so eventually Booming Blade will just win out. Bard 7, our level 8, is just 4th level spells. It's a fairly lackluster level, but keep in mind with Cartomancer, this isn't just 4th level Bard spells, this is also 4th level Sorcerer spells. We can access the whole Sorcerer spell list with Cartomancer and get to choose any of those. So our bag of tricks just opened up way bigger. Yeah, bonus action Fireball is now on the table. Throw a card and boom! I love it. And no one's going to be expecting it. That's the fun part, is no one knows what you're going to take. So a bonus action Fireball from someone who doesn't carry Fireball is going to hold some weight and should be a lot of fun. And that's what I'd say is the second draw to this character, is the surprise element mixed with that flowing in and out of combat. Its playstyle seems awesome to me. Quick side note, and this just popped into my head, but if you can ever turn your hat into a bag of holding where you can put infinite amount of stuff in it and keep it on your head, that sounds cool too. You should try that. Bard 8, level 9, I'm grabbing Warcaster. Our concentration is going to be important, and because we're in close range, yeah, we want to make sure that we have some advantages to it. Warcaster is great, and it gives us bonus action opportunity attacks, which are always fantastic, especially against ranged enemies who we go pressure with our high mobility. They're like, I don't want to be here. I'm going to run away. They run away. They get Booming Blade. Boom. A feat at this moment that I'd be really tempted to take is Resilient Wisdom, because Wisdom saves are one of our big weaknesses. However, Bards have a lot of ways to mitigate that themselves. For now, it's Motivational Speech. 3rd level spell. It's fantastic for protecting against wisdom saves if we can predict a combat. Later, we can do Hero's Feast. It's expensive, so we can kind of have both in our pocket, but just keep that in your back pocket because you're gonna need it. You don't have great wisdom saves. Bard 9, our level 10, we get 5th level spells for both sorcerers and bards, and now we have that extra deadly flexibility. Then we hit Bard 10, our level 11, and we're gonna get Magical Secrets. Now Magical Secrets is kind of different. Normally, you take the best spells, but because we kind of can go grab some of those best spells with Cartomancer, we're more inclined to go pick up something from Cleric or Paladin, Druid, or Ranger. So I still want to pick up a very powerful fight-winning spell like Wall of Force from Wizard, and the main reason for that is it keeps our Cartomancer flexible, but then I'm also probably going to pick up Find Greater Steed because it's freaking fantastic, and it's something we can't access with Cartomancer. And as we level up more and get more magical secrets, I'm going to be looking at Warlocks and Druids and Clerics more than the other classes to try and fill in those niches we can't otherwise fill. So at the end of the day, once this character is fully built out, our spell list is going to be so broad. We're going to have such a large bag of tricks that it should be pretty fun to bring new spells to the table. I think the hardest part is going to be picking your spell. This character really came together for me. I like the Harengon, I like the suave and pulling people out of a hat, and just having a lot of flavor and energy to it. It sounds fun to roleplay. Mixing that with some really unique and fun, Mobile Gish is such a cool archetype, and I think it's really nice that we hit it here. I think this would be an extremely fun character to play, but what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below, but with that, my friends, I hope you have yourselves an incredible day. I'll catch you on the next one.